Hey, in this video, I'm going to mix and master a beat that I made myself. It's a boom bap beat, and I'm going to share with you my exact workflow, how I go about balancing the levels, the use of plugins, and the Mixbus chain, and finally the mastering. Let's go! So this is a beat that I made last week, and it sounds a little something like this. And if you want to mix along with me, you can just download the stems or the tracks at subphotic.com/stems. Here I have the mixing session, and it looks like this. The first thing that I hear here is there are some imbalances when it comes to the drums, and the bass is a bit off. Now let's just do some static mix tweaks. Let's see. Start with the kick and the snare. Just turn them all the way down and drum loop, this is quite weak. This one is going to get some compression along the way, but first I'm going to work with the volume, so I'll just mark all those and I'll just gain it up a bit. I think it needs a solid 6 dB of lift. Let's see. This will work better with compression down the line. Now as a matter of fact, let's just cheat. Let's just apply some compression at once and maybe remove some low end rumble. Let's see. Hertz with the sides, so everything below 150 hertz is mono. Now let's just compress the sucker a bit. Let's go with the punch. We need some punch. Let's some transients through. Right, now let's just blend in some dry. Need that much punch actually, because I have the punch already with and the transient hits from the kick and the snare that I have laid on top of this. Let's just try another. So what I'm doing here is I'm adding some dry signal. So this is parallel processing. So I'm blending back the original signal to not make the drum sound too flat. This is sort of like background beats. It's just for texture. The main beat is the kick and snare. So in my head, at least, it is. Let's see. See, they're not aligned. What do you say, Norway? We have big hands, so we don't make the tweaks. We don't make fine adjustments that easy. So let's make some fine adjustments with the kick and the snare. This one is a bit untamed. This kick right here, the initial transient, is really sharp. So not by a lot, but by a little, and I'll turn it down a bit. So that was step one, setting the initial balance. And as you can see, I used some compression and EQ already, and that was I needed to shape some of the elements a bit so that I could get the balance that I wanted, because that kick was really poking out and it made me go nuts. So now I think I have a good relationship between the kick and the bass, and the kick and the drum loop and the snare and the rest of the instruments. And I guess I will have to tweak them some more. Now comes step two, which is to make sure that everything sounds in place, and I'm going to use some EQ, some compression, some saturation, maybe some clipping, and I'll make sure that everything has its place. Now let's make this in a pocket. Let's see. Tonal balance control from Izotope, just to get some hints if anything is off the charts at some. The bass and the high end should be a bit exaggerated here because there's no vocals on here, but when you put on some vocals at a later point, you will get a more commercial balance of the track. So this tonal balance control is basically based on thousands of different reference tracks in certain genres. For example, this is the bass heavy genre. It's sort of like a summary of where in the frequency spectrum there are a lot of energy. In this case, for example, looks like this. As you can see, here's a gigantic pocket for the vocals, and we have more bass here. I think maybe it's a bit exaggerated. I will do some bass testing at the very end, just to make sure that the bass is all tight and tucked in and not exaggerated. And the high end was okay, I guess. Okay, now I'm going to control the drums a bit more. I used the classic clipper for this. Let's see. I didn't comment it before, but I regretted moving the first kick in the first bar. I think it sounds more rough and raw with the kick a bit out of sync with the drum loop. I think it sounds better, like it's a bit abrupt, but I like it. Listen. I think, let's see. Here we go. What I do is I create some space for the drums to live in, because the bass is quite down there in the low end. So I will I'll turn up this. No, I will turn up this. Everything below 150 will be cut a bit from the bass to make more room for the subs in the drums. Let's see. The bass and the subs. The low mids and the subs. I guess we can call it that. Okay. And we're doing only the mids, and we're doing a fast attack and a fast-ish release. Of course, I have heard people say that the Trackspacer carves a lot into the source material, and I agree. It can do that. So now you see I have it at 3 o'clock right here, and it's real exaggerated. But I tend to go with what I can hear, and then I back off a little. So it's not to create any effect. It's just to create some space for the drums to live in. Let's listen. In fact, I want more punch for the drums. Muted everything else, you can hear it clearly what type of effect the Trackspacer gives the bass. Listen. Beautiful. Now I want to do something with the bass. I want to make it more present, because now I've taken away something from the bass in the low, but I want to add something a bit up the line, and I'm going to use some Izotope plugins for this. I'm going to use the Izotope Imager. Let's widen out the bass a bit. Let's see. So the bass is a bit more all present without affecting the subs. What else that I noticed is that it's a bit sharp in the transients, the bass. So I will just use a transient master for this from the native instruments. I'll just lower it. Let's listen to this. With and without. Let's listen. Smoother, but we still have the transients, but not that much. And now we got an idea. I need to make some transitional effects between the two different instruments going there. That will come later. That will come in step 3. So we're still in step number 2, which is to make all the elements shine and make a good mix. Now I want to sidechain the instrument bus with using a Trackspacer again. So I'll just copy this one right here. And it's still set for the drums, and I'm going to take it all the way down up here, at least up until 6K, and I don't need to do anything with the lows here because it's not low end focused. So let's listen. And this way, and this time around, I do it with the stereo. So I duck everything, not only the mids, but I duck everything. Let's see. That sounded awful. So let's back it off. I guess there are some more things to do. I can, for example, do something with the Mixbus, but I think I will save that for last. This time around, it's just a beat. It's not a complete song. I would have a different approach if it was a complete song with the vocals, but this is just a beat, and it's getting ready for vocals. So that's the difference. Now comes step 3, which is to add some air candy in the shape and form of send effects and some transitional effects. And I've already done some send effects here with the alt loop, as you can hear here, like so. But I need to do something with the drums. I think I want to make them a bit more, I don't know. Okay, I think that's nice. We can use the same on the snare, drum room, and let's see. The snare needed some 150 hertz down there. Okay, let's listen up. Now I want to add some transitional effects, and I'm going to use the Baby Audio Transit for this task. I want to switch between the alt loop and the main loops. I feel that with this plugin I can do whatever. I can just select the preset and it sounds cool from the get-go. It's no need to tweak that much other than using the transition control right here, automate this one. So that's what I'm going to do now, automate it. Now let's see what happens if I automate this last section here. Let it slide all the way up. Not all the way up, but at least. Ooh. Why not? And I guess I'll make it more subtle. Take it down to 50% wet. The same thing at the end here. Which makes the end so much better, I think. Let's see if I can do it here as well. I don't know if I want to expose it too much. It shouldn't happen that many times during the song, but now let's do the same thing with the alt loop, and then after that comes step 4, which would be mastering. Okay, so stay put. Don't go anywhere. Alt loop. Let's do this. Here we go. Sort of like a Vox throw of some sort. Brilliant. So some air candy right there. Now comes the last step, step 4, which is the mastering. And I'll go to the Mixbus here. No fancy stuff. I'm not going to export it and import it as a stereo file as I normally would with the mastering session. I'm just going to master it inside here. And what I feel I need is just some bit of control here for Okay, some control of the bass, and then comes some Mixbus processing with the bliss. I'll just fine tune the EQ a bit to shape it a bit, and then add some distortion to make everything sound more glued together and more juicy and spicy, and then some gentle compression before I go over to the limiter and maybe a clipper as well. We'll see. So let's see. Have some peaks in the 400 hertz range. We have a dip in the 3000 and other than that, it looks good. So let's just lower a bit of the 400. Let's So I've increased a bit in the subs at 40 Hertz, and I've decreased a bit in the 400 as per the hint from the tonal balance control, and it actually sounded better, and it also sounded better to add a couple of dBs in the 3K area, and I just wanted some high-end sparkle. I don't know how much this did. I would need to listen in my open back headphones, but I think it sounded a bit sweeter. Got a bit more air into it, and then I started with the distortion or the saturation section here. So I found a setting that I liked, and it was a bit too much. So I used the wet dry knob and blended it. So I have it on, let's see, 11 o'clock. 11 o'clock dry, so 11 o'clock wet, I'm sorry. So it's mostly dry, but I've inserted some of the saturation into it, and then I'll compress it a bit. Just some slight glue there. Let's see. Don't need these. Now let's listen with and without. Tighter it is, how much more well put the mix is now. And let's move on with, actually I want to insert here a clipper, and I got a clipper here that is more than decent. I just want to try it out now that I have it. So this is just a trial version that I have from Schwabe Digital. It's the orange clip. And I've used this a couple of times, and I found out that if it's exaggerated on the Mixbus, it's a bit unpleasant. They have another plugin called the Gold Clip. You can check out. I've made a review video over there of the Gold Clip from Schwabe Digital, which is a lot better for mastering purposes. But this one also does the job, and I just want to try this one. I'm not sure if I like what it does with the bass. I think this plugin is more suited on buses or on groups and tracks. I don't think it's suitable at least not on this one. I don't like it, so I'll go with the gold clip instead. Because I didn't like what it did to the bass. Let's listen. Really, this is really like flexible, because you not only do you have the clipper, but you also have some intelligent, or what should we say, some advanced compression settings. Let's listen. Like that either now on this material. It's because of the bass. The bass gets too exaggerated. It gets too distorted in this setting. So I'll just go with the limiter. Actually, I'm going to clip the drum bus even more. I'll try with the orange clip on the drum bus just to see how it plays out. You see the difference between how much strain the snare is putting on the limiter without the orange clipper engaged, and when I engage the orange clipper, it's more pleasing to the limiter, or it goes easier on the limiter. Okay, the bass is far off, and I have to adjust it. saturation. You'll use the decapitator from Sound Toys, and just gonna experiment a bit with it in solo, just to hear the different textures, and then I'll imagine what fits in. So let me just use this part right here. In fact, I'm going to use the Chroma Glow, the stock saturation plugin in Logic. You can check out, I have a video on it right here. You can check it out. I really love this. Let's see, distortion, here we go. Chroma Glow, here we are. Let's see. What I like about this is we can just bypass where it saturates. I don't necessarily want to saturate the subs. I just want the texture of the bass to come a bit closer and a bit more forward in the mix. Let's see. Slightly compression on that one. Now I've dialed in some compression and saturation. Let's listen before and after. Not that anonymous. I'll just throw in a compressor to sidechain with the sub kick that is right here at the end of every 4 bars. I don't want that to collide. I heard some collision right there. So it's called the kick 3. Let's see. I'll put that as an insert. Kick 3 and fast attack, medium release. Turn off the auto gain, and let's just check up on that one. It's right here, for example. Soloing those two, let's see, ding, and this one. Let's see if my you see, what happens here, and this is why I like the Trackspacer so much, is because it really it disappears. But if I use the Trackspacer now instead of a compressor, again with the kick 3, and then I shave off the subs, so that the subs are the only thing that is affected, not the texture. So I'll do it up to I don't know, up to 100, and listen to this. More of the bass texture is now left intact. Let's see. Without. Anyways, I think that helped. I want some room for the rappers to breathe a bit here. Take it away. When I'm nearly done, I like to check with the multimeter in Logic, and they have this correlation meter right here, +1. It means that everything is nice in phase, but when it goes out to the red, it means that there's a lot of difference between the right and the left channel, and it can be phase distortion and cancellations as well. So this is just a hint, might be a hint that you should check the phase and check if whether or not there's elements that is disappearing in thin air. At the very end, I'll just do a couple of automation tricks. I'll go to the Mixbus, activate the automation there, and I'm gonna pull down everything in the beginning. So this is like not that much. Well, 3 dB. And let's hear. was a bit too much. Let's go 1.5 dB, I think. Let's pull everything down by a dB. No, I want everything to go down at the same time, like this, with it 1 dB down. Okay, like so. And then when we come to the chorus, here we are with the chorus. Here we can turn everything up. I'm right about here. Turn it up and then down again, like so. And here we can turn everything down again. So want something to happen at the end of every 4 bar or every 8th bar or something, like some beat break or something. Some cleverness going on there, I guess. Pull out that tail a bit more. I like that tail. Exactly 2 minutes. Perfect. bass should be a bit more exclusive and not come that often, I think. One more thing that I found is this baby right here. Ooh, this one is just not good at all. I guess I have to notch that out or in some way. As good as it can be, I think. I'm done. Officially done. Bounce. That's it. I'm done. And now I can bounce the beat. I can upload it on my Bandcamp, send it to DJ Stress, and I'll put the link down in the description where it is played in the live stream of the Producer's Corner. And I strongly encourage you to join in on the community. And I hope I see you in one of the next videos, which most definitely will be about the orange clip and another reverb that I'm going to cover quite soon. So check out one of these videos and I hope I see you there. Peace!